Welcome to a brand new episode of Connecting Dots with Oriol Plana, proudly sponsored by Mr.Alfred, the leading property and revenue management system for vacation rentals. We have today Bergthor and Redeet. Probably you know them because they are quite active in social media. You want to give a 30 seconds introduction of what you do?
Sure, yeah. First, I want to thank you for doing all these conferences. The last one you did was so nice. It was a blast. So, yeah, great work on that. My name is Bergthor. I'm from Iceland. Moved to Dubai 2 years ago to start subleasing apartments here. I was doing the same business over there. Had to move over here because regulations in Iceland are really difficult. And my goal is to sublease 100 apartments. I'm at 49 right now. And, yeah, that's it.
And Redeet?
Yeah. First of all, again, thank you for the invitation and all the organizational efforts. My name is Redeet. Also, almost 2 years ago, I moved to Dubai from the Netherlands. I did not have any experience doing Airbnbs back home, but I thought it was a nice business model, right? So it started off as a side hustle. My idea was to stay in the Netherlands, get a few units, make some extra money. That did not work. It became a real business. It grew, and yeah, here we are, 2 years later, almost 80 units.
Very good. So we're going to focus a little bit on your obviously story and what you're doing. Not only in the market itself, but also personal branding, building public, social media. So did you prepare everything, or did you have an aha moment and say, "Oh wow, what I'm doing is"? I think both of you started differently, no? Maybe. So, how was the process?
I think I started posting content just because I was a little bit bored, honestly. And I thought I knew what I was doing was kind of cool. So I was like, what if I just start making videos about everything? I wonder what's gonna happen. But I never thought that people would be interested this much. I remember telling my girlfriend at the time, like, if I get 1,000 followers in a year, that would be pretty cool. And my goal was just to keep posting consistently. And I remember telling myself, I'm going to post 100 posts, no matter what happens. I'm just going to keep posting. And yeah, this is where I would be.
Yeah, my end, why I started posting, it was not a stress.
Not bad, eh?
Thought.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, if I'm not sick. So in my end, I didn't start posting with a strategy. It was natural, basically. I saw the value of the personal brand. So I saw that, but I didn't have something in mind I want to monetize or I want to make money out of my business. I wanted to build something and then, let's see where it takes me. Right? And that's what I did. That apparently there was quite some interest in Dubai, how to set up an Airbnb business. It's a hot topic, basically. And therefore it gained quite some attention and no, the rest is here.
And so, following up on this question, then, I mean, you are like content first or building in public, but even myself as a business owner, we know that we need to be very present in social media. I mean, distribution is very important nowadays, right? And so, what would you say to someone like myself that I'm a bit shy, I don't like to share, it's difficult, but I know we have to do it, right? So, what would you recommend, or what would you say, hey, these are the tips or overcome? I'm sure in the audience a lot of people feel the same way, and if not, it's only me then.
We don't think you're shy.
What can you lose? Like, honestly, try to do it. As many things in life, if you don't try, if you don't know what the results are.
Do you have any routine? Like I say, look, I need to create because that's also another strategy to get a routine, right? Like a job. Say, look, this is my job.
Yeah.
The same way I need to do emails, I need to pay salaries, I need to do this, I need to create content. So do you create it like this also, like a task, a to-do list that I need to post every morning from 9 to 10, I do this, from 10 to 11, or do you do any type of organization that becomes a routine that helps you?
Mine is very sporadic. I don't plan really anything, but what I try to do is just try to post what I'm already doing. Just what I'm already going to do. How does somebody record me? And then I come home, and when I'm bored, I look at clips, see what I can put together, and just try to make it engaging, and then I post it. But it's what I would recommend to people is just what you're already doing, record it and post it.
Yeah, sorry.
True. Although for most people, routine works.
Exactly.
So definitely be authentic, record what you already do, and share that. But often the routine works. Like, for example, every Tuesday, I'd like to take a look at the drafts and give feedback. And then maybe by Thursday, the final posts are there. And then we actually schedule posts. So that's what I do. Now, but I think there are two different things, right? So, like when we record content, so now this is a quick opportunity. So I have also my team here recording, and this is also the content. But as for the actual work, so reviewing the drafts and posting content, it's nice having this.
Yeah, because then it becomes a skill, no? If you are very good at selecting, making content engagement, then it's difficult to replicate, no? It's the skill of and then you said it. How do you balance, no, authenticity versus planning? But I think you answered this, no? You are authentic in the content creation, and then you have to be a marketing company somehow.
Yes, the thing is, you just want to be yourself, right? Because the moment you start acting like someone else or showing something that you're not, and you want to be like someone else or something because it supposedly works, that's when people don't trust you anymore. Like you lose trust. And I think the value of social media, for me at least, is not immediately monetary, but it's the fact that people trust you before they meet you, right? It's not a sales channel, it's a marketing channel to me. Meeting whereby I have conversation with the landlord or with the supplier, with the potential partner. They see my videos. They see my videos and they trust me already. And therefore, it makes it easier for me to close the deal. But all of that is contingent upon you being authentic and being yourself and not acting like someone else or something else because you think it works.
And how to move away from being authentic and following trends, because also now in social media everyone does this video of like, hey, I bumped you in the street, right? So I don't know if you've done it or no, but I mean, do you feel sometimes that you want to follow the trends? I don't know, how do you balance authenticity and trying to beat the algorithm, right?
I mean, I follow trends all the time. I see somebody make a clip, just to set them. I see that it works, so I'm like, okay, I can make that kind of clip, but with my authenticity.
Yeah.
Is that I follow trends, yeah.
You may, yeah, exactly. Well, very good. Okay, and then okay, so let's move on like to the business, right? So another, I think, topic of controversy, or at least for myself, is monetization of your social media, right? So you do start doing subleasing, and maybe you can talk about yourself, but you can talk about the industry in general, because there are other influencers in the global. So you do your business, you do well, you make money probably, or I hope I guess you make money, but then you start, or you or someone else or whatever, yeah, selling courses, partnerships, furnishing. So what's your journey into monetizing your audience? What do you think about it? What do you do? Why you do it? So what's your take on that?
So I think definitely both of us, we do management deals. So I have on the side a management company that I promote where I have two partners. And we got like almost 50 apartments there now. So that is my main monetization, ways to monetize my audience. But other than that, it's just getting better deals for my subleasing business, because that's where I make the most money. I get, better deals on cleaning. I get better deals on furnishing. I extract best employees. A lot of things. And I can even negotiate better deals with landlords because, I can show them really that I'm credible, and I can show them they maybe even know me. Maybe they've seen me before, so they really trust me. And so, but honestly, I think we definitely made a lot less money than people think off our Instagram. Like, I think my Instagram has probably cost me more money than I have ever made, mostly because of competition coming into the market. Especially like I have towers that I really like to sublease apartment in, like Paramount Tower. But right now there's like 20 holiday home companies in that tower, and I have to like really fight to get apartments. Maybe I would already be at 100 apartments if I wouldn't have documented my journey, because I would have been able to pick them up so much faster. But that is a battle I've had in my head for many times, like, is it more worth it to do all this content? But then I think what I land on is like, would I want to make extra 10% and then it not have on social media? I think I would rather have the social media, and it would, I think the benefit long far into the future it's going to be massive. If I just keep making videos every week for 10 years, the benefits are going to be there.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. I think the value of a personal brand, that's what we're talking about, right? The value of a personal brand is an asset. Just for example, when you build like a soft carton, you want to make money from day one or year one. It will take quite some time investing, and it might even take away entirely from your cash flow business, but you are building something of value. Now, what's nicer than like what's better than adding value to yourself, to your own personal brand? People knowing you, people trusting you when they see you, and being able, so getting the ability to close the bills, hiring better employees, etc., etc., etc. So that to value as some monetization. Yes, I monetize. I do have my community, and the people pay a contribution for the membership fee. But yeah, it's very little compared to what I would spend same time in my actual Airbnb.
I keep telling him to stop with this community thing. It's way too little money that you make off this.
Honest. I saw a clip in your one that someone was charging like thousands of dollars for consulting, no?
Somewhere, I need so
Oh no, or was that so?
nobody's ever paid me for.
No, not you, not you. Someone in your show saying that that he was charging a lot of money for consulting somewhere else. So a guest.
Oh yeah. So I mean, a lot of people were, James Murphy.
Yeah.
He was heavy selling courses here, and a lot of people bought that.
Yeah.
Some people liked it, some people didn't. But he was charging like $5,000. Yeah.
Which actually, I'm not opposed to, right? To them being like, if someone offers actual value, I mean, the membership is like very little, right? But if someone offers you an actual value, and can save you a lot of time and therefore money by teaching you how to take the steps in the most efficient manner, or help you to avoid mistakes that can be very costly, then 5,000 or like a few $1,000s is not that much. Yeah, it really helps you to build a business. Then when you hundreds of thousands, what is 5,000?
If you're gonna go all in, you're gonna get 10, 20, 30 apartments.
So it's not guaranteed, but people sometimes say, you know what I do? I'm gonna buy a course, I'm gonna be a community member or whatever. Right? We're gonna spend money to get knowledge, and therefore I will be successful. No.
The problem with selling these courses is if you set the right expectations, then you're not gonna make a lot of money. Because if I was selling a course for $5,000, I would want to tell the person like, this is gonna be hard. So you're probably not gonna be successful, and then nobody will buy it.
To charge 100,000 or have one client.
That's what I thought about one time. I posted in my story, and I was looking for maybe if somebody was interested in that, but nobody was.
Yeah. And maybe we need to increase the tickets of scale. So if so there is now starting to be a movement, I think, well, I don't know, if other people in the audience want to correct me or add or anything, that subleasing is impacting into the long-term rental prices. And actually, I've seen that in specific cases, no? A new tower in downtown, or not to mention the one that you are in, probably, or you're not that focused in a tower, but I don't know, Forte, or that the first 5 apartments are people doing subleasing, offering 20%, 30% above market. And that's very dangerous because that's the standard for the following business, and the operators that are doing revenue share are out of the obviously out of the, well, if they tell the truth, are out of the equation because they cannot beat an offer of 20-30%. Do you see that?
Definitely. Look, the market is completely imbalanced in certain towers in certain areas, right? I'm in a few towers where I know that like 80%, maybe even our holiday homes, our Airbnbs, right? And I know what I paid for my rent, PVC units. And then I see what other people pay now, like a year and a year, like 40,000 a year more. A secret, you're not gonna make money, right? So I keep telling people, do not sign a deal that doesn't work out in the numbers. In business case, right? She's negative action coverage, not because everybody likes that tower or Bergthor posts about the tower, I do, or whomever does. So the tower is good. So any unit I take there will make me money. All the stuff too. Be careful, take a look at it, and calculate your numbers, scratch the numbers, and then only potentially sign the deal. And in these larger towers and more complicated towers, it's you should double check. Like take me more time to do that, because the competition is so high, if people gonna start lowering their prices, you're gonna be the first one out if your rate is too high. Also, from the landlord perspective, right, this is also an issue point. A landlord can maybe sign a deal for 270,000, right, where the actual market band is supposed to mean 210, for example. So they might be very happy signing a deal. Right? It seems great, like I mean 270. But then the second check or the third check,
Yeah, bounces.
bounces.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
I mean, in Spain, we have a saying there is no 5 dirhams for 4 dirhams, right? Meaning, 5 dirhams is 5 dirhams. You cannot get 5 dirhams paying 4 dirhams. So if you pay 270, next maybe it's fake, no? And then how do you see the industry going then with this amount of subleasing not working? What's going to happen? Is it do you see it impacting the industry, or because it can damage also the reputation of the industry itself?
Definitely. That's what we don't want to be to the steer, right? But if so many people like sign a overpriced unit in one building or in a certain area, they're not going to make money. A lot of people are going to make money, and they're going to either like pay the rent and don't cash the tenancy, and then that was already happy because then the tenant leaves after a year, and obviously you don't get the same rent back. So that's one scenario. Where are you going to bounce the checks? So it will impact the industry. A lot of people will fail. It's not an easy business. But you just gotta like stay true to the actual numbers and make sure that you only take the deals again that make sense, so it doesn't impact you. As long as your deals are light and you don't sign that deals, then you're gonna be fine. But the industry definitely could take a hit on some basis.
And I mean, how can we educate the market so that they don't do these mistakes? Shall we publish how to analyze a deal? Or
No, I think it's gonna just happen by itself. You just gotta let people do mistakes, and it's gonna. I mean, of course, you can try our best to educate, but it's gonna also just happen by itself. When people make mistakes, they're not gonna do them again. Okay, and then, you know,
yeah, but some people take loans to get the rent. It's life-changing mistakes, you know.
me and Redeet, we just go all the time. We're all the time telling people this, like, right? We're always like, you just spent the last 2 minutes preaching.
Yeah.
Smart people. We're doing our best, but you say it's gonna impact the market, sure, but only for like a couple of months, But people are not gonna make mistakes again and again and again.
Oh, and this take 2 years to
Okay, yeah.
until the.
I think as long as maybe the front end is bringing in new people, sure, yeah, the mistakes are gonna continue to happen, but I think. I don't know. I think it's not going to impact the market too much. I think balance is just going to reach like on its own.
To add to that, because I remember the initial question was, to what extent does the shorter rental market impact the long-term rental market?
Yes, no, the subleasing especially, and overpriced offers, subleasing offers. Yeah,
I think it definitely impacts in certain buildings, certain areas, right? So, take an example, Ghana Signature in downtown. I have parts of buildings there, we're like certain apartments. Like so, those buildings are known, and then the price is high because that all these subleasing people want to like get their units there. But in JVC or in I don't know, Motor City or in like the biggest part of Dubai and most of the units, it doesn't impact the long-term rental market. There's just in these few buildings where people think it's a gold mine, but their prices are increasing like disproportionately based on the subleasing and all the new subleasers, DMing, property finder agents, etc. So it does make impact. We've concentrated in a few areas in buildings.
we have a question in the middle of this conversation.
Yeah, you were talking about pricing, and I thought that was quite interesting. As an operator who only does revenue share, our pricing strategy is, based on market data, because we don't have a fixed cost. I'd like to understand, how do you think about pricing? You think about it, okay, I got this cost to cover, and then I'm going to yield, or what's your cost process? Good question. And so the business case is based on what's my rent. So the business case I make before I sign the deal. This is my rent, and this is my revenue that I expect, and therefore this will be the profit. Does it make sense? Yes or no? If the cash return is good, then I take it. But then if we're already in the game, let's say you have a unit in the same tower or I have a unit, and we're neighbors, right? And the guest doesn't care whether if the unit is revenue sharing or subleasing. So we have to compete in a way, right? So our prices are going to be similar. So in my assumptions, when I sign a deal, I take into consideration the fact that I rent and therefore need to make a certain revenue and therefore certain profit. But once you're already in the game, it's just market-based price. Yeah, in that case, in the month of July, yeah, right, you may have a major cash deficit, definitely. So if you're running, I think 75 and 100 apartments, you guys, if you have a major cash deficit, the month of July, how does that affect you going forward? Last year, and so 2024, I had months where I lost $30,000 with less than 30 units. Meaning, if I have 80 units, you can make the calculation. I said, well, I lose a lot of money, so I need to have a buffer. And people sometimes don't understand that as well. As getting into the subleasing game, you're going to lose money for a big chunk of the year. Doing revenue sharing, you're not going to lose money. I mean, you might, depending on your overhead, but I just factor into my business case that I'm going to lose money in summer. So you're right. There are months where you like end up with a lower number on your bank account at the end of the month versus the start of the month, and that hits you extra do subleasing versus revenue share.
So now that we started the numbers, I like that. So I checked your numbers. I put them in an Excel actually. I analyzed that because they are so good. I'm embarrassed for my business. How can we audit or make sure these numbers are correct? Because they are too good to be true, or so good.
So, all the way since I started, people have been telling me, half the people have been telling me I'm lying, half the people have been telling me I'm laundering money, half the people have been telling me this and that, and at the end of the day, I don't care. I'm not selling anybody anything. I'm just documenting this journey for me. And, every time I meet you, you question me.
Yeah.
Every time.
I'm not saying I don't believe you. I told you that amazing numbers.
I'd like to learn from you.
Yeah, so what's the question they said?
No, how can you give? Because I mean, I'm asking question for everyone, not for me. How can you? Is there any way? I mean, you say you don't care, but if you do care a little bit, or you do, or no, how is the way that you can say to people, hey, these numbers are correct?
I mean, if you look at the fact that I'm constantly adding apartments, why would I be constantly adding apartments if I wasn't making any money? Oh, just a little tired of this question. I've been answering this question for 2 years.
I say people just sometimes think that these voters and vice president I don't care as well. I boast what I boast because I share what I do, and that's it.
Yeah, but the guys, you also, I mean, sorry, to challenge you also, you need to understand that you are individuals, and you have your ethics, you have your morals, and that's excellent. But you are also here representing probably, or like, in the same way that the operators before were representing the industries in Saudi, an industry that is sometimes used wrongly. And the same way that a lot of subleasing is done in a wrong way because they overpay, a lot of building in public, showing numbers, is done in a bad way because the ultimate interest is to sell courses, expensive, because that is the real business. So also the audience, and maybe that's probably the question, want to know, who do I trust? Why do I trust this guy and not the other guy? Because the other guy is probably really lying.
True.
So because we know you, and yes, it's true, I ask you all the time the same question because that's a question that's out there. It's how can we trust? What do we have? Which tools do we have to get trust?
Well, it's a very valid question because, like, all the time, all over the place across the globe, you see a lot of people like saying, putting numbers online, say have hundreds of units, and at the end of the day, they're not even their units. They pretend that they're their units, but they're units of the people they coach, for example, right? So, and then they come up with these huge numbers and to sell you courses for a lot of money. This happens, so you have to be careful for that. At the end of the day, like, everybody has to make their own judgment always, especially in this age where everything can be fake. Just think about the concept of AI. I can put something online right now, if you even see it, it's AI or not. If I show like a airplane flying over, like that is, I don't know, like something straight. Guys, you have to use your own brains and think about what what's true and what's not true. As for representing, for me, I'm representing me, right? I'm going to share what I'm doing, and then I'm sharing what's going very well, and also I'm sharing what's going very wrong. Where I'm losing money, where I lost like $20,000 last year because I made a mistake in credit card checking my verification successful. But where I lost just recently, I lost 4 units because the network wasn't happy with the revenue. Right, so it just happens. Like these things happen. So if both a plus and a minus, as for the numbers, are these numbers that I know Bergthor is very good at like optimizing operations, and I think I am too. These numbers are only possible if you do something easy with a low rent, maximizing the revenue, knowing what you're doing as for maximizing the people who are in your apartment according still to the law, etc., etc. So you need to optimize everything in order to be able to make such profits. But again, now in summer, in a few months, you're going to see if Bergthor continues posting. I'm going to continue posting. You're going to see maybe a $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 loss in a month. That's the flip side of making $200,000 in a month in winter.
I think it's also very normal that a subleaser can make a little bit more than a person in management, because when we click on a unit, we know we're going to keep it for many years, like 95% chance. So we can invest really heavily into the unit. Versus if you're managing it, you have to first convince the owner to invest, which is very hard. You know that it could be taken away from you like that, so you don't want to invest too much energy into it either. So that also makes it a little bit easier for subleasers.
Yeah, I agree. Not only this, and you can optimize operations by focusing on an area, on a tower or on a location. Whereas an operator have to be in JVC, La Mer, and Crix.
Yeah, by the way, this is something I don't even think I would like do this business if I had 1 unit, one unit. I have no buildings with 1 unit. In 2 of my unit buildings, I have 80% of my units. This helps me to do like operations highly efficiently. You have to be extra efficient, especially if you're like needy pay financially by paying the checks, furniture, etc.
Yeah. No, and to close this topic of financials, and so I did check your financials, and in the end is a cash flow game, right? So probably today you are not recovering the investment yet, but if you project your business, especially taking into account the investment on furniture and probably the initial cost, then you have a very good business, no? So that's the type of business you have.
But only if you do it for multiple years.
Exactly.
You are persistent.
Exactly.
You know your contractors are right.
Well, you have a risk of market risk. So if the market drops massively, your exposure is big.
Yeah, it's risky for sure.
But it's also risky to manage and lose 50% of the portfolio because you don't control it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, we can open the. I mean, you want to add anything else, or
Do you want it?
so we can open the floor to questions. Yeah.
Right in the dust.
我考虑打建这我brought of basically every family loan the renter than it is on this problem just given of a spacing that
I definitely see that. It's just figuring out every single way to increase the revenue. That's just my number one priority. Finding every way to increase the revenue, getting better deals with the claim, being more efficient with this and that. And at the end of the day, the reason why the gap is closing, is, I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say. So the reason why the gap is closing is because there's certain people that are making very good revenue. And the people that are making really good revenue, they can keep adding units. They can keep adding. And because they're making such good revenue, they can keep adding more units. And that squeezes the gap. And the gap is just squeezed and squeezed. And you just have to make sure that you are the best operator so that you have the bigger gap and you don't have the small gap.
This is crucial, right? So if you look at it like, I don't know if I feel for prices to here, if you look at like the different types of units in your data dashboard, the price or any other tool, you see that there you are. So you see that like the same unit, so a 2-bedroom with Burj Khalifa view in Forte, for example, like there's such a huge bandwidth in how much revenue they make you just have to make sure that you're on the right side of the bandwidth. We need to know that they can do that. Like religiously, that if you don't do that, it's very difficult to like with disclosing the still make money in a subleasing model. If you know the tips, if you know the tricks, and you analyze all your units, and you make sure that you're on the right side of the bandwidth, so high revenue, then you're gonna be fine. But it is a tricky game because it's a hard. Plenty of operators, plenty of buildings also. I would feel, even though I consider myself a good host, I know the tips and I know what to do, and strategically, I know how to price, etc., etc. There are certain buildings I just wouldn't go because I know that the long-term rent, even if I would do a good job, it's still cool to the short-term bet. Don't touch it. That doesn't make sense. So I hope this adds a bit to the answer, obviously.
Hi, and this is Santosh here with my presence Koibai for Diva. She will the whole aspect. So my question is, what are the red flags and early mistakes you have faced when you start on subleasing in Dubai? That's the first question. And second one, can this be a side hustle as well? This is a question for you both.
So to answer your second question, can be a side hustle. That's what I thought it to be. It cannot, right? If you can be like a co-host, you can be a VA, you can be someone who talks to guests, right? As a business, it's not a side hustle. You have to go all in, especially now. You need to have a business license from the first subleasing unit. You cannot do like without the license anymore, but just so you need to like, you have to go all in. So that's as we say it. Abu Bakr first, who must be
For not the red flags. Early mistakes tune. I think the mistake I made in the beginning was just being a little bit too cheap on the furniture. It's better just sit. If you're subleasing, just go all in, make it just as beautiful as you humanly can. Because if you spend the extra 10,000 dirhams in furniture, you're going to make an extra 10,000 dirhams easily throughout the year. And that's 100% turning your rest to bread.
And if you go make a 10,000, you won't make profit. So you need to do all these things. When if you revenue share, you can put like IKEA stuff and whatever, like home center, and you're gonna be fine, right? Because you're gonna make your 20% or whatever. But if you suddenly say you're not doing everything like perfect, forget about it.
Yeah, in the end, you need to understand that you are selling pictures, right? You're not selling anything else. Reviews, but pictures.
Pictures, fries, reading. But the question is regarding side hustle. I'd say anywhere else in the world, this is the perfect business to start as a side hustle. Because anywhere else in the world, the competition isn't this crazy. So anyone, or not anyone, but it's so much easier to make profit. So when I started this business, I started it as a side hustle. Obviously, like I was selling insurance and I was doing really good selling insurance. So I bought an apartment and I put it on Airbnb and it just went so well. I was just like, oh, I got to just start ranking these apartments to get more. And I didn't quit my job until I got like 10 units. And it was fun. So it can be a side hustle. It's just a little bit difficult to buy because it needs so much energy.
Yeah, and the cost of living of Dubai is high, you know. But, well, if it's a side hustle.
If we are properly setting up as the proper company and then we can do, is it possible in that way or still we need playful that
It's definitely possible. Yeah, especially if it's two of each junior-wise. You know, you're managing one. You don't have to quit your job right away. You know, you can, if you're going to go into this, of course, you can do it.
But also, if you go through the whole conversation, I mean, it's hard, and there are a lot of tasks that are core. So you need to select well, you need to break well, you need to control the cost well, you need to manage the communication well. So and with the current market conditions, unless you are the best, as Redeet was saying now, you will not make money. So if you want to do it as a side hustle, you can, but maybe you are not the one who will make money. I recommend a lot of people to start with an operator. If you want, sublease and let other people manage it, if you want. And then you will see if you like the industry, if you selected well, start learning. You know, I think you started working in a company, right? To learn the business and the industry, for example. If you're really passionate about this industry, but it's being passionate about the industry of hospitality, you know. Vinayak always say, this is hospitality. It's not passionate about making money. If you're passionate about making money, don't do this, right? Before, yeah. You need to be passionate about this industry, you know?
Sure. Yeah, the biggest thing is if you're doing this in Dubai, you have to realize it's a long learning curve to get good enough to get even to be profitable enough. So you have to go all in and try to get better. That's the thing.
And there are the costly mistakes. Like honestly, I've seen so many people, I was sorry for them. I get ideas, people who tell me I got this, a far by even better, and I'm not making a profit. What can I do? And here's my listing. late and they take a look at it. I'm like, oh boy, it's the listing doesn't look good. Book me that fixable. What's the rent you pay? And then it's like 30% over the market value. Like it's very, very challenging to then make a living out of that. Right. So the Dubai market is a beautiful market. I love it. I'm very happy that I'm building my business here. But it's highly competitive. You need to know what you're doing. You need to learn from other people's mistakes. Because if you're going to be the one to make the same mistakes, you might run out of money or time before your business sees like green numbers.
Thank you.
You revise. No, you. Talk about it.
I thought the concept was very interesting. What you said earlier about as a content creator, of course, you get to leverage that. It's getting some better deals for certain aspects of your business, right? So, do you also take it up to the level of like just software you were using? Like, did you try to leverage that and get a better deal for like choosing the PMS that you're operating on, for example? And to a further extent, would you then get into a deal where you say, okay, look, I actually love the PMS or whatever software tool I'm using, and I'm gonna, whether I'll sell it to the people who follow me on Instagram, and look, you get the small call in Pepper. This is some, maybe I missed it, I had a eating earlier, but jumped a bit late, and I think that's an interesting, that's still really fun.
They're not using the best PMS.
But you're also like, what? Just say, just. Yeah, so I mean, like they all offer like affiliate stuff. I just, the money is just not very much, so I just haven't really gotten into it. I think I probably tried it and I just didn't really make any money, so I just never did it again. No.
Yeah, so I never promote many software on my public channels by in that. So I want to say I'm meant to like document and on post my journey. I do have in my community some deals with like some software suppliers for certain things, software and any other service that you mean. I negotiate and talk with you when that's great for community members, right? And did some like a significant like income stream or whatever for me and all that. But of course, I make sure that I pay a lot of price.
Which ones do you use, sir? Hosting.
So, although I had other options.
Yeah, we're still in a lot of lists, obviously.
Maybe you have two clients here.
What's the argument?
Make a cut of this, make a cut of this, and put it in also here. There is another question there.
Thank you. Also, what's like one piece of advice that you keep hearing from people in the short-term market, unlike you completely eat as a peak?
It's a good question. Start the business, yeah?
Honestly, I don't know if it's a piece of advice, but I disagree a lot with people saying it's an easy business or making it look like an easy business. It is not an easy business. So I don't know if it's a piece of advice, but it's like, the characteristic of the business that's not true. So an easy business. It's a very high potential scam of business, but it's not easy.
Here's one that I love advice, but it's like something that's misunderstood. I think a lot of people think with the price labs, it's just an AI that's just going to set your price so you do it. It's still, price labs is amazing. I love price labs, but there's still a lot of decisions that have to be made and you constantly need to be making adjustments and changes. So that's something that I see some people say that I don't agree with.
Then maybe a nice add-on to continue on that. When I started, we had no prior Airbnb experience at all when it came to the buy, right? So like let me file this new type of business and let me file this new cost at the same time. So I came here and I cut these units, furnished them myself, will make stuff from Omset and IKEA and stuff. It worked back then. And I just like let my prices be done by pricers completely on the recommended settings. And it was so my apartment was empty for more than a week, and I felt like what did I do? When the money is something I'm never gonna make any returns back around. So what I've learned is PriceLab is a tool. PriceLab is a tool, or any practice software is a tool. It gives you data, but you need to make decisions and get an input for it to serve you well. Right, so in the summer, for example, I put some additional discounts. On some specific days, if I audition these units have a great view of Burj Khalifa, for Unit C, for example, I increase my prices more than Priceless would recommend it, because Priceless does not know that this unit has this angle of the Burj Khalifa that everybody wants to see on the 31st of December. Right? So you need to use this pricing software as a tool, but you need to give it your own input so it gives you back what you need.
One question, because I work very closely with marketing. Your business is in some ways connected to your social media channels. And one of the biggest nightmares for a social media manager like me, or someone who works very closely with the social media channels, is losing the social media channel. Have you ever faced, because I do remember Syed had an incident where he lost his account and then he was able to gain it back. Yeah, I got it too. So in such situations, what, like, do you have a backup plan? What is your plan B if you're never able to regain it? Because I have seen stuff like that happen to Instagram celebrities as well.
Yeah, so I had it happen to me. My page was all of a sudden just blocked. I asked some friends, and I just paid somebody inside of Instagram, and they put my account back.
No, is it?
Oh, it's fair.
Well, don't say the name of the person.
But yeah, that's what happened, bro. And I don't know why it happened. Maybe somebody, you did something to take down my account. I don't know. But honestly, about losing my account, I just started over again. So you feel a little bit sad, but we also do a little bit of fun.
Social media, I best said, right? But also, platforms can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have multiple friends with very big businesses who have basically had their business shut down from one day to the other because one of the major platforms decided to do so. That's scary.
Platform like Airbnb.
But that's
It happened to an operator in Dubai as well, I heard.
super scary, right? So you want to make sure that on any given distribution channel, whether it's for your social media, your personal brand, or what type of a business you have, that you have like always multiple channels of distribution. And platforms, I love them. I love platforms, but you gotta make sure that you're compliant and you're not relying on one platform only for both social media as for the distribution of your art.
Yeah, that's very important. Don't put all the eggs in the same basket.
Last question.
Last question.
Hi, Armin here, non vacation. I wanted to ask because Parishik, how you guys like look to hot process be my fine swing spot, like with the that you're spending on it, also making it active with what's out there right now. And the only question that I have given for is I know that we've been using Asana for quite a while. Initially, I think you were trying little photo vendors and then you moved to Asana and the last few minutes you've been using Anmostly and then you also were updating more units, your units. So, why it took you on units that you're having where you're signing up? Why aren't you hired someone in-house or tried that someone can you do speak for you? Is now that you have to choose gates.
Okay, really good question. So the reason why I don't hire somebody in-house is because SA does it for me at cost because I promote it. So, and they're really good. So if I can just use them and they don't charge me anything extra, I like it. I guess that's the answer to the question. What was the first one? But I definitely thought about it.
So then, would you say like that's something that your social medias or your social media no you
Yeah, definitely. That's the main bet.
Now, the first question was the sweet spot between cost investment. Like, how do you know what has to be the budget, right?
So what I like to think is just optimize every single spot. Like every wall has to have something like wallpaper, marble, quick painting, just optimize every space and try to do it, as inexpensive as possible.
Yeah, and one thing that you guys have is a lot of bets.
A lot of what?
Bets.
Yes.
I mean, how do you get around GTCM?
So a lot of the buildings have put rules that we can't, put two guests into the apartment, and so we just follow that. I used like to put 8 people in a 2-bed apartment, but in my main building, it's not allowed anymore. So I just gotta follow that. So I just follow the rules of it, security, and that's right. All the security I lost
Maybe to and quickly go back to your question. I think financially, you want to know what's out there in the market, just like whatever you take any type of supplier, and see what quantity you can get, of course, for sort of price point. But as for integrating something into your company, that's a whole different story, right? Like, do you want your own designer, hire someone who does their own, like figure out where to buy beds and how to do this and work with suppliers? That's the same kind of question. Like, why don't you do cleaning in house, right? Or maintenance in house, etc. It depends on the type of entrepreneur you are and what your skill set is. Which one of these things you want to take in house, or you want to be completely lean. It's a strategic decision in building a business. And then Bergthor is of course the positive side of his social media, where you can get data costs, similar things I have. But the decision what do you insource is a business strategic decision based on how you want to do it.
Right.